Now, these two problems here may look complicated, but what we're actually going to do to make that easier to deal with is we're going to make a substitution for each of these. So there is x minus 7 that you see repeated there. What we'll do is we're going to make a substitution. I'm going to let u equal x minus 7. And the reason for that is because then I can replace all the x minus 7s with a u to make that easier to deal with. Now, what you might be thinking is you might be wondering, couldn't I just multiply all that out on top and all on the bottom? Yes, you could do that, but that's going to take you a lot longer to do, more places to make a mistake, and what you get in the end might be required something to be factored, which could be harder to do because you'll have larger factors and you may not know how to do that. So I think this way is going to be easier for you if you make a substitution, because then we'll just factor this out with the u in it, and that's going to be easier to deal with. So we made the substitution on top. On the bottom, we'll replace all the x minus 7s get replaced with the u. So we have that complete. So each of these individually now we want to factor. We're going to factor this by using the grouping method. So 3 times 12 is 36. And we want to look for two numbers that multiply to make 36, but add together to be 20. So we have one factor here already. Another factor would be 1 and 36 is 36. And then let's try 2. 2 and 2 times 18 is 36. Now that's actually the one we want to use, because 2 times 18 is 36, but 2 plus 18 is going to be 20 that we want. So I'm going to rewrite this as a 2u plus 18u then plus 12. So all we're doing is rewriting the middle term in terms of 2u and 18. And so it simplifies back to the same thing we started with. Now we're going to do the same thing over here with the one on the bottom. We have 2 times negative 42 is negative 84. So now I want to run through all the different factors of that. So 1 times negative 84 is negative 84. Of course, these negatives can be switched here. It doesn't matter. We'll just go ahead and write it out with the second one being negative, but just know that we can really switch the order on these if we want to. We'll look at all our factors and see which one is going to allow us to add up to 5 is what we want. So we did that. Let's do a 3. Okay, so if you're not sure, again, what these are, you can just simply take a calculator, you just divide it by 3, by 4, by 5, however, whatever it is. And so in this case, it's going to be negative 28. We have 4. Okay, so 84 divided by 4 is going to be 21. So we have 21 here. Again, it doesn't really matter which one of these you make negative. We just look at which one's going to give us a 5 there. 84 is not divisible by 5, but it is divisible by 6. 84 divided by 6 is going to give 14. So we have 6 times negative 14. And then we have a 7. 84 divided by 7 is going to be 12. All right, now I have 7 and 12. Now that is actually a combination that would allow us to get a 5. None of these other ones allowed us to, even if we switch the negatives, we wouldn't get a 5. But this one, if we make the first one negative, then I have negative 7 times 12 is negative 84, but they add together to be a 5. So on the bottom, I'm going to rewrite this as, now it doesn't matter, I'll put the negative 1 first, negative 7u plus 12u, and then we have minus 42. We're going to factor the first 2 and the second 2 on these. So on the top here, the first, I can factor out a u from the first 2, that's a common factor, 3u plus 2. And then next over here, I can factor out a 6. So I'll put a plus, and I'll have a 6 here. 18u divided by 6 is 3u. 12 divided by 6 is plus 2. That's for the top. In the bottom one, we're going to factor out a common factor, which is a u from the bottom there, and it's going to be 2u minus 7. Take out we can do a 6 would go into both of those, so factor out a 6. And this one here, that's going to be a 2u, negative 42 divided by 6 is a minus 7. So we have this. Now we want to factor the common factor out. The 3u plus 2 is repeated. And then we have, if we take out those, you'll get u plus 6 left over. On the bottom, the 2u minus 7 is the one that repeats, and you have u plus 6 left over. We notice here that we can cancel out the u plus 6. So we will go ahead and cancel that out. Now, the answer here is not going to be 3u plus 2 over 2u minus 7. The reason why is because, look back here, the original problem has x plus 7 in it. So the last step that we're going to do here is we're going to replace the u with x minus 7. So I have x minus 7 there, plus 2 on top. On the bottom, I have 2 times x minus 7, and I have minus 7 here. So I just replaced the u, these u's here, with x minus 7. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to factor this. So I can erase these here, since we already have that done. Just give us a little bit of space to write out the answer. Once you have that substitutions put in there, then the only remaining thing that we're going to do here is we're going to multiply this out. Okay. And so now the next thing we're going to do here is we're going to do 3x minus 21 plus 2, 2x minus 14 minus 7. Now we're just going to add the like terms together, and that's going to be our answer. We get 3x, negative 21 plus 2 is a minus 19. On the bottom, we have 2x, and then if we combine these together, it's going to be minus 21. This is now going to be our final answer on that problem. That's as far as we can go with that. Nothing else cancels. Let's do the same thing for the next one here. Once again, we're going to let u equal the ones in the parentheses that we see there. That's going to allow us to rewrite it as 2u squared plus 9u plus 9. In the bottom, 2u squared plus 3u minus 9. Now, we're going to factor this a little bit differently than the previous problem. The previous problem, we did the factoring by grouping, which is probably a little bit better there in that case because there's a lot of factors to try. This one, however, I'm actually just going to jump directly into the parentheses, and I'm going to factor this one by using trial and error method. Now, trial and error method means that you kind of do a guess and check method. So you're going to guess what things go inside, multiply them, and see if you get the thing we have up there. For instance, the top one, I have 2u and a u. I know that would multiply to make 2u squared. But for the 9, I can either try 1 and 9 in each of these spots, or I can try 3 and 3. Let's try 3 and 3 first. Now, we know that the signs here have to all be positive. We want to see if we get a 9 in the middle like we're supposed to. Let's multiply this out and see if we get the 9. 2u times u is 2u squared. Yes, that works. Then we have 2u times 3 is 6u, and then we have plus 3u. So both of these are plus. We will get a 6 and a 3. That does add up to 9. 3 times 3 is 9. So yes, that would be fully factored. We did that correctly. We're going to do the similar thing on the bottom by using the trial and error method. So 2u and u we have there. Again, let's go ahead and try 3 and 3, see if that works. Okay. Now this time, the last number is negative, which means one of these things needs to be positive and one of them is negative. So we have to find out which one it is by multiplication. So 2u times u is 2u squared. Okay, that's good. And then I have 2u times 3. That would be a 6 and a 3. Now I want that to add up to a 3. So if I put a plus here and a minus for that one, I would get 2u squared. I would get a plus 6 and a minus 3, which would add up to a 3 here. And then I have negative 3 and positive 3. That does add up to a minus 9. So this would now be correct. So that's another way that you could go about factoring these kind of problems. U plus 3 is going to cancel. That leaves us with 2u plus 3 on top and 2u minus 3 on the bottom. Now we just need to replace the u with x minus 1. So we'll put that in there, top and bottom, make that substitution back in. And so that way we can now finish this out. So once that's in there, we're going to multiply this 2x minus 2 plus 3 on top. On the bottom, 2x minus 2 minus 3 on the bottom there. Then we're just going to simplify what we have left over. We have 2x, and then minus 2 plus 3 is a plus 1. And then this one on the bottom, that's a 2x. Minus 2 minus 3 is a minus 5. So we get 2x minus 5. And so this is going to be our final answer. Let me make this look a little bit more clear. So we have 2x plus 1 there. And then on the bottom, we have 2x minus 5. Nothing else cancels there. That would be the final answer.